Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwartner, and welcome to a LinkedIn live stream with Ashar Rizqi. Welcome, Ashar.
Thank you, Gerhard. Happy to be here.
Ashar is the CEO of Bounty, an AI tool that I would compare to a revenue radar screen. How is that for a description?
I haven't heard it before, but I like it a lot. Revenue radar, revenue GPS. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I I know you are coming to Las Vegas on September 6th and 7th, and you'll be exhibiting and you're going to share your insights with the attendees of sales leaders. So, can you tell us a little bit about why you felt the need that AI could really turbocharge sales?
Yeah, that's a great question, Gerhard. Maybe if I could share a little bit of background on my view of the current state of the space in general, I think would be a really good way to start. So, give me one second. Excuse me. So, if we think about the world that a lot of sales teams are living in today, there's actually a tremendous amount of pain that has emerged over the last 10 years, 10 plus years or so. Number one being that buyers and customers are becoming increasingly sophisticated and finding new and exciting ways to engage with your product, with your company, with your teams, and so on. But sellers have historically just operated in a very pretty linear fashion, and honestly a lot of the tooling in the space that has emerged has also been very linear. What that's created is a massive volume of data, buyer data, customer data, intent data, third party data, first party data, you name it, right? Now, the folks that really need to consume that data to understand who their end users are and buyers are not data scientists, they're not data analysts, these are sales folks, these are customer success folks. And so, if we were to kind of double click down into a lot of the contributing factors or problems that we see arise, are things like productivity of reps is down. It takes rep ramp time has continued to stay in the low sort of digits. We still in 2023 are hearing things like, well, 20% of reps or 20% of sales teams are making 80% of the number. And it's like, well, wait a minute, we've invested so much money in all these tools and all of this data, in all of this infrastructure, and the productivity numbers haven't changed. That to me is extremely alarming. Right? And if we think about what it would actually take to solve this problem, well, there's really only one choice that people have available, which isn't really much of a tenable choice for most companies, is like, well, let's just go hire more people. Let's just go throw more bodies at the problem. Unfortunately, that's what folks are. And so that's really kind of created an environment where, with the rise of AI, the maturity and a lot of what we're seeing around generative AI and all of the sort of technology and infrastructure backing that. Well, this is prime. The environment that we're living in today is primed to really use AI to come and help us. Not to replace people entirely, not to replace jobs, but it's really around like, hey, how do we take the mundane? How do we take the things that we know machines can do better, which is really around signals and math and science, and have the machines do all that work, so it frees us, the humans, up to do things that we're really good at, which is serving each other, being creative, just like finding the creative outlets. And honestly, I think that's really what's going to allow buyers to become more in tune with their sellers and vice versa. And I think these are the reasons why I think that we're ready for really kind of where AI is and how AI can help customer facing teams.
Well, let's focus on Bounty and how it helps a salesperson with finding the right prospects.
Yeah. So again, there's thank you for that question. I think there are many elements that go into this, but number one, again, being that it starts with the buyer journey. Buyers showing intent, trying to learn and understand and express, hey, we're having a pain or a problem, and then there's an entire journey that follows that. A buyer becomes a customer, and at that point, the journey doesn't end. Your customers are using your product, actually getting their problem solved. And it really starts with that understanding that, hey, how do we get a really, um, you know, acute understanding of this journey, all the way from when somebody is really thinking about their pain point to when they become a customer and actually have their pain solved and continue to do that. So that's really where we come in. Bounty comes in and plugs into your entire stack of data that you have, both first party data, third party data, and uses data science and machine learning to really kind of create this baseline understanding of, with the help of machines, hey, what does good look like in my journeys? What does bad
Yeah.
look like in journeys? And machines are the ones that are keeping it up to date. That's one very small part of the problem. Okay, we've understood the journey. Well, what do we do next? Well, let's figure out and proactively monitor, well, who's showing signs of good and who's showing signs of bad. And actually, let's bring that understanding, create that context, and put it into the hands of a sales or a customer success rep to say, like, hey, you need to be talking to this prospect or this customer because we've stitched together a story that really strongly indicates, based on what we've seen in the past, that they're ready to engage with you. They're ready to buy for you. So you, as a human being, are spending, as a sales rep, are just spending less time doing all of that manual research and work and understanding and context and story building yourself, right? The second part of the problem that we really have, well, great, you've told me who to talk to and what I should say to them. Well, who I should be talking to, why I should be talking to them. What you haven't told me is, what should I do next? And that's where the second part of Bounty really comes in, which is, we're here to guide the reps. Again, this is AI that's here to mentor and guide these reps along in their journey using best in class sales enablement practices, sales processes. It's all built into the platform to basically guide the rep on exactly what the next action is. What is the email that I should be generating? How should it be crafted? How many words should it be using? How should it should have the understanding of the pains and the gains that my solution is actually providing. And all of that should be automated. And with the click of a button, the sales rep should just be able to expect that at this point in time, I've personalized to the best of my ability. I've reached out to our customer or our buyer, and they're ready to engage with me. And really what's captured, what we've empowered the reps to do, is to really hit that level of personalization that I think buyers are truly demanding these days. And you can expect all of this to happen without a rep ever needing to log into yet another tool, because at Bounty, we operate completely headlessly, which means that we're living and breathing inside the tools that reps are using today.
So if I hear this correctly, you're really taking the friction out of the prospecting and the engagement process. And there are really two types of friction. One is the friction that where salespeople need to do things manually, and they may overlook a lot of things. So you create sort of a frictionless experience by delivering the information and the signals to the salesperson so they can make a decision. But secondly, the friction also comes when you deliver incomplete information to the customer, where customers are clueless and ignore you. So if information is incomplete, the process of the buying journey is going to be longer, not shorter.
That's exactly right, Gerhard. I'll give you an example. I had this experience very recently where I had somebody reach out to me on LinkedIn. Was a perfectly, like, very, very cold outbound. And they were like, hey, I'm really excited about the stuff that you're doing with Bounty and the innovation that you're bringing to the healthcare space. And not only was the information completely inaccurate and completely incomplete, but it turned me off completely from engaging with this
Yeah.
person, this individual, with this company, right? And so I can only imagine the level of friction that existed in not having access to any kind of data that would have made that person better prepared to have really truly created a personalized experience for me, even though I might be feeling that pain at that point in time. And so that is a very critical, very salient point that you made.
I think then the other part that you mentioned earlier that's really fascinating is the personalization, that you as a salesperson, you can pick up only so many data points. And it's hard to sort of zero in on those that are really most relevant in the moment. And if you have AI give you all the data on the customer that are relevant in the moment, you have the upper hand.
That's I think that is spot on, because I think that's really what's going to make the difference in really people paying attention to you or not paying attention to you, which then has a bunch of downstream effects that impact
Yep.
your revenue generating metrics. I think personalization, buyers and consumers with all of the data that they have, by choice or not, been giving us over the last 20 years or so, using all the systems that have existed on the internet. I think that's just become table stakes. People demand that level of personalization, and I think the teams that are able to personalize at their best to their buyers, to their customers, are the ones that are going to see just the highest returns, the highest conversion metrics, and so on, the highest level of productivity compared to everybody. I think it's such a key aspect of the world that we're living in today.
So there's another big opportunity that's left on the table for companies that are not using Bounty, which is upselling. Tell us how that works.
Yeah, I think this is one of my personal favorite topics to talk about. Is really around there's such an emphasis on, hey, how do we acquire new customers? How do we acquire new logos and bring in new business, and such an emphasis on top of funnel that I think, but businesses really lose sight of, your existing customer base, your existing book of business. How do you has been such an important metric. Things like gross dollar retention, gross net revenue retention, net dollar retention are such important metrics, because they capture such a large piece of the operations of your business, the efficiencies of your business. But more importantly, are my customers actually happy with our product? Are they using our product? Are they leveraging more of the features that I could be providing them? I really feel that that's been an underserved part of the market for a very long time. But it's such a critical aspect, because you have these multiplicative effects that exist within your existing business. Number one being that the cost of retaining and expanding within a customer is dramatically lower, as far as we know, compared to acquiring new customers. So why wouldn't we want to treat that with such high importance? In times of distress, in these macroeconomic condition that we live in, where we call it a depression or a recession or whatever it is. Look, it's going to get harder and harder. The well is drying up when it comes to new logo acquisition. Well, where are you going to find the opportunities for growth? It's going to be internally, right?
Yeah.
We always talk about positive growth, but what about negative growth, right? How do we prevent and those two things go hand in hand. So I think upselling, expansion, cross-selling, all of these, churn prevention, they're all activities that are very closely tied to each other. And it's really around keeping your customers, happy, engaged, receiving, deriving value, finding new ways, unlocking new use cases. All of these is just such a plethora of valuable activity that I think businesses should be spending an equal amount of time in. This is might be a controversial statement, but I believe that in today's world, with the tools and the data we have today, companies should be spending equal amounts of efforts on finding and attracting new customers, as well as keeping their existing customers happy, engaged, and expanding.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's controversial. I think it's very practical, because you actually can get more sales at a lower cost. And what's not to like about that?
Absolutely. 100% agree with you. Higher sales, lower cost. You just find you unlock just a different level of efficiencies and growth in your business if you're able to do it right.
Right. So what is on the future roadmap for you? And I just want to remind people, scan that QR code and you get virtual access for free. We normally sell it for $229. But if you're anywhere in the world and you want to watch Sales 3.0 from the comfort of your home or cubicle, be our guest. And also, when you log on, we use a tool called Brella.io, and Brella will show a booth for Bounty. And so you can look at a virtual demo. You can look at some videos from Bounty. And but if you want to come to Vegas and see Ashar and experience all the speakers, shoot me an email, gg@sellingpower.com, and I'll give you a very attractive discount to attend in Vegas. So, what are you excited about the conference?
I'm really excited about. Um, I love going to these conferences because it's such an opportunity to learn. That's the most important. That's the most fundamental thing about these any kind of conference. But having the opportunity to learn, having the opportunity to kind of share learnings of what we've seen, over the last few years of doing this now, just the different types of models that exist and different practices that exist, and it's just fascinating to see how different industries, particularly, are adopting new types of sales practices, new types of customer success and support practices. How do you actually get down to like I said, personalization in the automotive industry for in Europe, right? And I think there's these modalities that I think are super exciting to just, like I said, learn about and talk about. Just thinking about, I think AI, as we all know, is such an important theme, but it's still very nascent, very early. And how are people thinking about new and practical implementations? And again, how do we share those practical implementations with people? I think that's a really important and exciting part of the world. AI many folks can be fearful of it and might be afraid of the impact that it can have, but I think coming and talking about and dispelling some of that, and just sort of talking about how it is unlocking and empowering just this new level of human creativity in all aspects of our lives, including our professional lives. So I'm really excited to come and sort of both learn and just talk about these things with folks.
I think that someone once said that you cannot do things differently until you see things being done differently. And what you're going to learn when you look at Bounty and um, AI solutions, I think that what you said earlier about data and acceleration and linear growth, I think we're moving from the linear world to what I call the exponential world. And that exponential world requires a different kind of thinking, a different kind of mindset. Because when I look at, we are about to publish the list of the 500 largest sales organizations in America, and we've done that now for the past 15 years. And what we are seeing is that there is a technology impact on sales organization and service and in manufacturing where companies consistently on the top of the list, they get exponential growth. They get higher levels of growth than any other company in that field. Why? Because they leverage technology a lot more aggressively. And Bill McDermott, the CEO of ServiceNow, recently said that technology is the strategy. You want to out digitize your competition. And if you can't do that, you are going to be left behind. And that's why I'm so passionate about and so grateful that you are coming to sponsor, because you are sharing a vision of exponential growth potential with sales organizations that are struggling right now, and they don't need to, because you can do a lot more with a lot less.
Yeah, you nailed it, Gerhard. No, it's music to my ears. The vision statement of our company, of Bounty, is that we want to use AI. We want to empower every single human being on the planet with AI, so that we can create a culture of blameless, iterative, and rapid learning, and unlock that capability. Because to your point of exponential growth, that's in our mind, in our view, that's what we think unlocks it, is when you're able to unlock a whole new capacity of learning and gaining new skills and new knowledge quickly, that's really what creates that exponential growth. And if we can apply that to, the domain of sales technology or marketing or, customer success technology, where there's a tremendous amount of pain for folks, I'm excited about that future. I really am. And, that's just one.
I think that, yeah, and you're very mission focused and mission driven, and my view is the way I like to think about it, that we are all co-creators of a better world. If we can unlock the keys to co-creation and collaboration, and we can do that better with the modern tool that AI companies are offering. And I think you're making a phenomenal contribution to the profession of selling.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we end on that. Head over to the URL is Bounti.com. Is that correct?
Bounti.ai. Bounti.ai.
Bounti with an I.
With an I.
AI.
Yes.
There are two I's, and they stand for amazing intelligence.
Yes. We definitely are striving towards that, for sure.
And I got to close with my tagline. Bounti.ai is the new revenue radar screen that you can't leave home without it. You can't make a sale without it in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Ashar.
Thank you, Gerhard. Thank you for having me. Take care.
Take care.